So today on In Conversation With, we have somebody new, someone that I discovered who discovered us. And I saw some comments that she made, and I looked into her and found out that she is an experiencer and very involved in our subject. And her name is Bobbie Richardson. Bobbie, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show. I really
Sure.
appreciate it. Yes.
Knowing our audience, our family, our community as I do, I know they'll be very interested to hear about your personal experiences. I know you sent me a list of a lot of different things that you're involved in and abilities you have. And if we can get much of that in our hour that we have, that'd be wonderful. But I think the most important thing is to get your perspective and your feelings about the contact you've had with non-human intelligence.
Okay. I'll just start at the beginning. So, when I
Okay.
was very small, I had a vision, and the vision was of clowns outside of my bedroom window. And my mum, who had also visions, she shut that down. She was very powerful. She didn't like it, so she shut it down within me. And then after that, I would have been 11 years old when I had my first actual contact with UFO. And it happened to coincide with the Kaikoura event that happened in 1978. Um, in the Kaikoura event in New Zealand, or the South Island of New Zealand, there was some television presenters that jumped into an aeroplane because everybody was saying that they were seeing UFOs over in Kaikoura then. And they were almost searching for something. So they had a searchlight down, and people were noticing these very strange lights. And they actually caught some footage of the Kaikoura event, UFOs that were happening there. And they were capturing orange globes as well as blue globes. Um, they ended up traveling south back to Christchurch, and the craft actually followed them, and it stopped just before Christchurch. And funnily enough, my hometown, Kaipoi, is just before Christchurch. And I was only 11 years old. I was lying in bed, and there was this bright orange orb outside my bedroom window. So I thought, that can't be, what is that? That's can't be like a traffic light on the highway or anything. It must be more than that. So I looked up and realized that the traffic lights are way lower. And then I just watched this thing. It felt like, from an 11-year-old's perspective, an hour. Um, but it just stood there, sat there, and it started to telepathically communicate with me. And at the time, I was just a humble me. I was very emotional. I had a lot of feelings for everything. I'm extremely empathic. Um, and I was always crying. So I didn't think anything special of myself. But they they said, in this telepathic communication, "Oh yeah, we've found her." So I didn't understand what they were talking about. Oh yeah, they found her at the time. But then all of a sudden, it just shot off really quickly, and that just freaked me. So I was lying in bed, like just not moving, paralyzed. I did not want to move one finger. I was sweating profusely, and I was really, really scared. The next moment, my door opens and my father walks in. Now, this is late at night. This is like 11 at night. My father has never walked into my bedroom, never before, never after, never. But my father walked in at this moment, and he sat on my bed, and he just held my hand, and he just calmed me down. He didn't speak, which is really unusual for my father as well, not to speak. If I look back at that situation, I don't believe it was my father. I believe it was a Palladian male, um, and a friend of mine, or a father, kind of a figure, or somebody that I look up to. And then he left. From there, from there, all sorts of weird things started to happen. My mum, who worked very late at night till 3 in the morning, actually found me on the roof of the house running backwards with my hands up in the air. which I don't know how I did that because my roof was pretty steep. And
Wow.
yeah, so all sorts of weird things started to happen. I was jumping timelines. I was going to into timelines of when I was younger and coming back, finding myself at my next door neighbors because I thought I was living there. It was all sorts of weird things. Lights in my room were appearing. My sister reminded me of that. Yeah, so there was some strangeness happening. Now, after I left home, because I wasn't in my mother's energy field anymore, all of a sudden I started to see things, and those things were to me they were as real as anything, but they were all messages trying to line me up to tell me of a path that I was to go down, and um, and I started to follow that path, but it took a long time. But I had ETs at the bottom of my bed. I saw my newborn child astral travel to me because I could see her. Not only her, I saw my youngest one actually stand beside me, even though I was pregnant with her. I saw a lot of different weird things that there's no way my logical mind could dispute what was going on. It just kept going on and on and on. Um, then at 27, uh, I had messages from them over the time, and that was more directly to do with myself. Um, but then at the age of 27, I was traveling to Akaroa with a fiance of mine or boyfriend that I had at the time. And a voice comes in my head, and it's because my mind was extremely crazy and chaotic, and, how everybody's minds are.
Mhm.
Obviously, thinking the worst.
Yes, they
Um,
are.
yeah. And this voice says, why not try thinking more positively? Why don't you give it a go? No one else can know what's going on in your head but you. Maybe, this will work for you, that sort of thing. And it wouldn't let up. And I was literally thinking to myself at the time, well, I don't care, I was very negative. I don't want to listen to this. Um, but when we got to Akaroa, and this is a place, just a beach, like New Zealand is all beaches, and there's not like a specific beach where people gather, and there are, but it's the beach that we were down, it was just a long stretch of a beach. So my fiance was a photographer, pulled over. There was no car parks, no nothing. It was just a random sand dune. He pulled up, and then the same voice went in my head, said, open the car door and dig. So I just thought this was weird, but I thought, I'll see where this leads. And opened the car door, started to dig in the sand about 3 inches down, and I dug up a solid gold bracelet worth about $1,000. It
Huh.
had a little tattered heart on it. And I was like, okay, well, I gotta start listening to this voice now, right? Because if it's leading me to gold, actual tangible gold, I think I need to listen to it. Mm.
Wow.
So it started to teach me, these beings started to teach me how to control my mind, and how to come into a 0 point, how to be able to shift stories, how to realign my reality. I did go down. What had happened is it lasted for about 2 years. I become extremely. I had premonitions. I knew what was happening. I knew where I was going. I was very clear. I knew when there was a letter with money in it in my letterbox, even though it was taken out of the letterbox. And then I'm like, it was no disputing. I knew my mum had taken it out and put it up on my TV. Um, I knew things that I wasn't supposed to know. And then I had this light bulb go off in my head. I needed to go to Australia. So I had to leave everything. I had to leave my daughter, who was held by a court order over in Christchurch. And that was really hard. But I had a premonition dream that she was going to be living with me. And she actually did live with me. So just to let you know,
Oh,
it was a good story in the end. But I needed to go to Australia. And they said now or never. So I went. And this was just before, well, it was before the earthquakes had happened and that sort of thing. So I was following this path and trusting my guides heaps. And I ended up in Australia, and then I wanted to find out more about these visions that was happening. It was just ramping up, like so many things were being shown to me night after night. Matrix patterns, UFOs coming in, the elementals. I mean, I just had so many things, but I was also dealing with a negative force as well. My own fears were manifesting into, the worst scenarios too. So I had to deal with an entity that was attached to my family bloodline and all of that sort of stuff. There was a lot going on.
Well, we can create our own reality. We
Yeah.
have to be.
Well, what had happened when I come to Australia, they actually said to me, the training wheels are off. You're now to do this yourself. And I fell. I fell again back into the storyline and the matrix and the whole deal, which actually brought me through. I needed to do that because if I didn't do that, I wasn't going to be able to empower myself, be reliant on them too much. Gosh, there's so many stories to be able to bring up. In the
Can I
end,
ask you a
yeah,
couple questions?
yes.
So I don't want to interrupt your flow, but
No, go
in
ahead.
listening to you at the very beginning, you were talking about things happening in 1978, and um, I'm only familiar with those things because uh, of Susie Hansen, and who talked about the very same things,
Right,
described the same objects, described the same beams of light coming down, and it was so familiar to me. But
right.
also you described um, meeting your son before he was
Daughter.
born, daughter
Yeah.
before he was born, which is also something that Susie um, had happened with her son. She met her son's soul before she ever had him. He
Hmm.
was born into a human body, and yeah, it's really striking because again, there's this parallel, and I get it all the time. I mean, I've been doing this for quite a while now, and um, it just really caught my attention.
That's cool. I don't know
So
this, Susie,
you
but
don't
yeah,
you don't know
interesting.
Susie, yeah? Well, she's from New Zealand, and her show, her sh- uh, the show I did with her is this Friday is going to 4 o'clock here, which is Saturday for you. She's her show is going to run, and I did my best to
Right.
recreate uh, some of the things she's experienced being taken on board and everything else. But um, you might want to read her book because I think you'd find a lot of triggers in it because you're talking about a lot of exactly the
The
same
same
things, and
things.
and
Yeah.
you're not familiar with her, and
No. I
that's
don't follow anybody because of the channeling that I had from my guides. I'd rather keep it clear. So I haven't followed any other channelers or people who have had experiences in that. But I'll have a look because, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty clear with my guidance now.
right.
Yeah.
So do
So
continue.
after that, they gave me this really incredible dream. And the dream took me into, I woke up, which I knew was humanity's potential. I knew where that was. And what had happened in that space when I woke up, my mind was so clear. It was just spotless clear. And I had a house that was up in the mountains. I had people that were coming to me, they were going to teleport, they could telepathically in tune with me. Like we could manifest things if we wanted to. We could build things with our hands if we wanted to. We could do whatever we liked. We were free beings. It was just, but the clarity of the mind was what was reflected outside of us. And so I ended up coming back to myself. Actually ended up getting sucked into this tree, which I know now is a Taurus field, and coming back into myself. And when I woke up, I'm like, I'm not going to forget this feeling because that's my compass. I know now where to go. I know where I'm going to go, and to bring other people into alignment of that space. So that was really profound. And there's another reason why this happened because I ended up in Uluru. I'm getting to that story. So After that, I ended up asking, I felt I needed somebody in a physical body to help me with all these visions. I mean, I had people who had passed over coming to me. I had all sorts of things happening. It was literally a lighthouse of spirit and people. And in the end, I said to them, it's too much. And they said, okay, well, if you're to take the reins, you need to ask questions. And so I said, okay, well, the only question I got in my head at the moment is during school, they were talking about our history, and I never really felt that that was the true history, but I'll empty my cup. If it is the truth, then, bring it towards me. If it's not the truth, then whatever. If it's a crazy ass story, then yeah. And it ended up being a crazy ass story. So, and I also
Mm.
asked to meet somebody of a high integrity that was a human. And so they aligned me through these really crazy synchronicities to an elder called Grandmother Parisha. She is from Ohio. She is from America, and she's a Cherokee elder. So I went to Byron Bay to
Very
see
interesting.
her. Yeah, and she pulled me out of a crowd and started to do this neuron changey thing in my brain, which gave me that same clarity that I had when I first came to uh, Australia. And so I knew then, okay, this lady has something because I can trust her. So I worked with her off and on over the years. And some of the stories there are really very, very interesting. One time we were in a auditorium at a university and she was giving a talk on astral traveling. And she said, Bobbie, sit next to me. And she would never do this unless she was guided to do something like this. She would keep most of her magical abilities to herself, although they did leak out sometimes. You're like, how did that happen? But anyway, I sat next to her and she's breathing really weirdly. And I was thinking, God, you're falling asleep. The movie started. You have to do Q&A questions after the movie. What's going on here? But she took my hand and she started to connect to me telepathically. And this was over an hour because the movie was over an hour. But we would go into this state or awareness, and it was through love, just pure love, that we were connected. And then we would flip out and we would be watching the movie screen again. And of the astral traveling, the movie. So she ended up unlinking hands. Like during that time though, I said to her, I need confirmation because my logical brain is having a brain fart here. This can't be, this isn't right. This isn't in the normal matrix of what we're taught in schools and stuff. So I
Sure, we
said,
all do that.
yeah, right. So I said to her, can you ask me to follow you back to USA, which I know she wouldn't normally do something like that. And she said, why? And I said, that's my confirmation. So I left it that this is all telepathically. I was tuning in and telling her my story as I was saying things that were really hard that I went through. She squeezed my hand, let me know. And then when she unlinked, she ended up asking the questions. All of the questions were on the pieces of the film that we actually saw, so she could answer them. So it's that in alignment. She was just so in alignment of I put it out to the universe, it comes back to me. I will always answer the right questions. Even to the point in the audience, there was one guy. She goes, "You want to ask a question?" That didn't have his hand up, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm really busting. I need to go to the toilet." So that's what it was. Like she's that clever. Yeah, there was other times where she talked to me telepathically as well. And anyway, I'm diverting. I'll end this story first. After the movie, she ended up coming up to me with her husband and said, Tony, we want Bobbie to follow us back to USA. And he's like looking confused, but my jaw drops because that's my confirmation, right? She whispers in my ear, it's magical, isn't it? I'm like, holy crap, is it what? So now all my visions and things that I was getting, I knew where I was going. I'm going to fine tune them into all of that she had been taught by her elders, our potential, what's humanity's potential. I want to know where can we go? Where can we take this? So it was lining me up. Um, at the same time, I was getting communication from other beings that was lining me up to the true history as well, which took 10 years of 4 species meeting up with me and telling me their version of our history with them. And like each version's a little different. The first one that I had to encounter because I had to face my fears was the draconians. And so they cleared me because I did face them. That's a story and a half right there. I did face them. Um,
The draconians, you mean the reptile
yes.
types? Yeah.
But if you don't face the fears that are in your reality, how can you communicate with the higher beings that are very powerful? That's how I see it anyway. So
Oh,
I felt like,
that's true. That's true.
yeah. So I needed to go through them to open up my, well, the fear to me is a code. It's a program that's limiting us, and explore past that. So when I encountered them, like I saw them, it was like everything. Saw, smell, that it was like a for real thing approaching me. They tried to wrap their arm around me and put pills in my mouth. And I just pierced my lips real tight. And I said to myself, no, this is not going to happen. And that's the will of man. No, this is not going to happen. We all have this ability to decide. And maybe you don't know how the outcome's going to happen because it's not held or retained in your logical memory, but it at least opens your vortex up to anything being possible. And so what happened was I didn't see all my chakras coming in, but I felt like it was all my chakras coming into one big ball of light between my sacral and my heart chakra, and it just burst out. Like I saw this big burst of light just burst out from my chest. And this being, literally, I upped my level of frequency outside of his level. So it just couldn't follow me. It couldn't be part of that. And then I ran outside, put my hands in the dirt. Oh my God, what the hell just happened there? But I went back into the room and fell asleep. I wasn't afraid. Um, yeah, so that's the first one. Then I had the Palladians that came in. And the Palladians were a beautiful feeling, obviously. I mean, I'm more in tune with the Palladian energy because the elder was sent by her elders to go around the world and specifically find what she calls buffalo hearts, which are Palladians straight from Pleiades, like the soul straight from Pleiades. So that's why
I
she
know
picked
what
me.
buffalo hearts are. Yeah.
Yeah. So she picked,
I'm a good portion of indigenous Native American in
okay,
my blood.
right. So she ended up, yeah, she found me, and then she gave me a name, and said, and it totally aligned with everything that I'd been with, which was Alana Nanahi, which meant I carried the code on the back of the turtle to help people navigate through into the new earth. Nanahi actually means fairy. Turtle means Alana means turtle.
And
Um,
turtles are very important.
Pardon?
The turtle is a very important symbol
Yes.
to the
I
Native
mean, it means
Americans.
earth. It's our reality. It's the matrix of
Yeah.
our reality. It has the symbols of 13. I mean, we've got to become more in alignment with all of this again. These are all
Yes, we
the,
do.
this is why I created hidden codes to a new reality. I've got a new website, YouTube, that's just gone up, codes to a new reality. Um, with these hidden codes. So, and then what happened was the Palladians. I've kind of got a little couple of notes on my phone here just so that I can remember the story and the line because I've got so much in between. I don't want to go sideways too much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, yeah, in the end, the Palladians came, and that started off. They like to come in dreams a lot first because their energy is quite high, and they can get you in those spaces, in the theta alpha state of awareness. So, this Palladian I knew was meant to meet up with my energy at a specific moment that I cleared enough, and I was his teacher in a past life. I can remember Pleiades very well. I know the energy of it, and that's why I created codes to I created a video portal into into Pleiades because they were with me that whole journey, and yeah, it just felt right to bring or ground more of this energy into the world. Um, they when he came up to me, he put his forehead on my forehead and he started to chant, and it started with Ra and these other symbols. I can't remember past Ra, but I know Ra's to do with coming through the sun. So a portal through the sun from their solar system through to our solar system to be able to meet up with me. And so it was kind of like these words that were um, able able to connect us at a pineal sort of a Brahma cave place within my own brain, because it was
Hmm.
vibrational. And then he would turn his head and he speak his language, so he was grounding his energy. It kind of sounded between Egyptian and elementally Celtic kind of speaking. And then he placed his head
Celtic,
five.
Celtic.
Celtic and Egyptian, I could only say that, obviously it's another language. But he was speaking this language, then he would turn and put his head on my forehead again. 5 times he did that. And I was waking up at the same time. My body was shaking. My body was completely vibrating. So he was literally, above me doing this work. Um, so then uh, that's when I started to get more downloads and stuff about Pleiades and an understanding of what Pleiades is all about, because I'm here to ground that energy. So from there, I'm going to side skip here because otherwise it's just going to take too long, because there was the Anunnaki, which is a huge story in itself, and Lyrans
Right.
that did come to me as well, when they're part of the history and their way. But even those are really cool stories, because I wanted to go into the story of me going to Uluru. I mean, if we have time at the end, we can always bring it up. But I all of a sudden, it was 2011, and I just had this, oh my God, I have to travel somewhere. Maybe I'm supposed to go see Parisha again. And everything was blocking my path. And all of a sudden, I had this dream. I just bought a ticket to go see David Icke, that was coming from England to do talks, and he was doing a tour all around Australia. So
Hmm.
that night I had a dream and I was in a bus. I didn't even think of going to Uluru, but I was in a bus going to Uluru. I woke up, straight up on my email. Here is this email from David Icke saying, "Who wants to come with me to Uluru?" I'm like, well, obviously I'm supposed to go. I had the money. The only thing is that I didn't have anyone to take care of my girls. I had split up with my ex, and I was thinking, how's that going to work? But I put my name down anyway. And then a few days later, my ex-husband, without me even prompting, asked for that specific time to have the girls. So,
Oh,
so it
yeah.
worked out. Mm. So in the end, I ended up going in the plane to Alice Springs, because they rang me up and said, you were chosen. And I said, I know, because I had the dream. And they told me that I was the first one pulled out of the hat. So it was all lined up. All of this is lined up, obviously. I ended up in Alice Springs, and right off the bat, sometimes what my team does is blank me from information so that I do what they want me to do rather than what I was told. So they were all talking about going on a bus, and anyway, what had happened was I didn't hear all of that. I didn't hear any of that. I cannot remember hearing where to go. I just followed David Icke to the car and the few people that were with him. And then they turned around and said, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I was supposed to follow you guys. And they're like, "Well, you're here now. Jump in the car." So I went in the car with David Icke, and I felt like I was meant to be there. So, but I was kind of humble about it as well. There was part of me going, "Oh my God, Bobbie, what the hell are you doing?" Anyway,
Hmm.
so I ended up in the car with them. I get to Alice Springs. It was like a backpackers lodge. We walked in. There was lizards up on the counter, And I literally turned into Steve Irwin. I wouldn't normally do this, but my team wanted me to approach David with a lizard because he was so against the draconians. Not, I just want to backtrack here. Even when I was with Persia, the elder, she told me about them as well. So I was asking for true history, and all of these stories just keep coming at me from all these different angles. Um, which is to do with the true history of humanity. Anyways, I grabbed one of the lizards and showed him, and he's like, "Ugh," but he's very rigid. He had some problems with his hands, and that, so he was rigid on the subject, and I was meant to shake him up and go, turn into Steve Irwin. Isn't it beautiful? Like, so funny.
Well, they are. I mean, I love lizards. I've always had them since I was a kid. The last
Yeah.
lizard I had was about 10 pounds of lizard, and he was a big
Wow.
iguana. His name was Data, and he was my friend, and I just always loved them.
Yeah, right.
They're beautiful creatures.
They are beautiful anyway. So that happened. And then when I went to sleep, I walked into the room and I knew damn well we were close to a really negative energy. There was something up with the whole backpackers place. It was very close to the Pine Gap. And I'm like, oh God, guys, there's a lot of people in the room. I'm like, if I start screaming, there's, I'm probably having a vision. There's probably something. I knew something was coming. I could feel it. So anyway, I went to sleep. Sometimes, nothing happens, but yeah, it's definitely tuned in. So what I got was I woke up and I saw these cube-like masses of energy that were dark that oozed out of my wall, and they had trapped souls in them, literally trapped souls in them. And I remember saying, it's okay, don't worry about it, you will be free, just hang in there a little longer. I mean, it was pretty upsetting because to feel someone that trapped, a soul that trapped, was pretty awful. But there was something going on there with Pine Gap and stuff. Now, I didn't know a lot of what was going on, but that's what my visions were showing me. So anyway, I have to keep on moving through the story. Somebody else said that there was a lot happening there as well. Jump in the bus. I'm sitting next to Maxwell Ingham, pretty profound guy that does talks. I didn't know him from a bar of soap, but he's holding a talking stick, and he said he's going to give it to a group that was in Uluru that was going to do some work on Uluru the very day before we were to arrive. So he was going to take off and do that. Just there's something there because there's all these
Hmm.
synchronicities that happen. I was chatting to a few other people and stuff, and then we got to the male rock. The original Australians really, you don't go in there unless you're a masculine male, and I didn't want to go in there, and so the bus driver, who was really worried that I was going to do a ceremony because he could. I said something in front of the bus and said, we're here to awaken more and that sort of thing. I just felt profoundly needing to get up and say this. And so he sat next
Hmm.
and he was like, are you going to do a ceremony? I'm like, look, I'm not going to do anything unless I'm called to do it. I promise I won't. And he's looking in my eyes and going, I trust you. You're fine. You're fine. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So just before we get to Iluru, I started to weep. I started to cry. It was like 10 minutes before, and I could not stop crying. It just kept pouring out me. I get to touch the rock, and it stopped. And I'm like, whoa, that's just so weird that all happened. No reason for me to cry, just overwhelming emotions. And I could feel into the rock that there was portals everywhere. Now, I had with me the piece of paper that the elder gave me of my name written on it, and my story of my name to help guide and stuff. I don't know why I carried it anyway. It did. So as we were walking around the rock, I was thinking. Actually, I just backtracked. The night before when the ceremony was done, there was a big storm and lightning was hitting the rock in that
Wow.
storm. So we
Is
actually
is
saw
that
it hitting the rock.
is that rock sacred to the Aborigine people?
Very, very. Very, very, very,
Yeah,
very
I
sacred.
thought as
It's
much.
like a giant
I have a very
heart.
strong connection to them.
Yeah, it's like a very strong heart. It's like a just a massive red rock that is very, very sacred. You're not supposed to climb up on it or go in it or anything like that because it's very sacred to them.
I know the rock you're talking about. I just got a picture of it in my mind, and
Right.
yes, it is very red. There's also
Yes.
hanging rock as well.
Yes. Yes. That's another place. Yes. So, so anyway, I'm walking around this rock and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm here. I said to the rock, I'm here. My name's Alana Wananahi. If you want me to do something, fine. If you don't, fine. We're going to leave in the plane, whatever. I just kind of left it. I go onto a path and I see the bus driver. And the bus driver turned to me, and I didn't expect him to do this, but he says, "You never guess what I saw in the mountain." Now, I never told anyone on that bus what my name was in Cherokee. He goes, "I saw a turtle in the mountain."
Huh.
Like, okay, you saw a turtle in the mountain. Well, that's my name. So he just grabs my hand and reefs me in. I didn't even have to show him the piece of paper. He just grabs my hand and reefs me into this rock. We're dipping and diving, and I'm not supposed to be there. But because he's the bus driver and the person that was interrogating me before, I thought it would be fine. So I wasn't going to follow anybody else because I wanted to be an honor of the original Australian people. I wouldn't do anything against them. Anyway,
No,
he
no, no.
slides himself, yeah, he slides himself into a canyon, like these two rocks that are like a foot and a half a wide apart. It just goes straight up, and then he looks to his left and he says, "Can you see the turtle and the rock?" And I'm thinking, yeah, kind of. Like for me, my visions are so clear. To him, he saw something maybe that I didn't. But anyway, we were in the rock, and here I am getting this download from the Pleiadians, and they're saying, remember the dreams of the potential Earth, and remember how Pleiades is, and remember what humanity could reach, and all of this in my head. And I said to him, I think we're supposed to put our forehead on the rock and chant, but I didn't know what to chant. So all I know is it's to do with the vibration of my voice or whatever. But he starts doing this. And then when he started doing it, I'm like, well, it gives me freedom to do it. So I put my hands on the rock, and I cannot describe the feeling that happened. It was like a whoom, like a whoop, slow heartbeat that was coming through me. My hands were visibly shaking. All of this download that I had received was just pouring into Iluru, just kept on pouring into there. And I'm like, what the heck is happening right here, right now? This is bizarre. But then I was talking to Earth, or to Gaia, to Earth. And I said, this is 2011. And I said, many have awoken. She goes, I will help you awaken many more. And then I was thinking to myself, oh my God, we've got to go back to the bus because the plane's going to leave and all these people are waiting. And here's a bus driver next to me. I kind of got out of that, done my work, whatever it was supposed to do. I'd love to have you'd be hypnotized and see exactly what actually happened there. But I turned to
Hmm.
him. He turned to me, and his pupil of his eyes were huge, like he was on drugs, like huge. And he goes, "Oh my God!" He's reaching in between the rocks, going, "Oh my God! None of it's real. None of it's real." He's having his own wow moment as well. We walk out of there, we get to the path. As soon as I put my foot on that path, I realized I wasn't with the bus driver. I was with another man that was on the bus. I did not see this other man. I saw the bus driver. So I wouldn't have followed this other man. So it's literally what my team does to me. And then the bus driver's back at the bus going, they're gone in the mountain. And it's been like, yeah. And I'm like, well, it happened now. Can't do anything about it. It's done. Meant to be. So, yeah, I ended up going back home. Now I kept on waking up after that, as I literally would wake up and pack my bags to go somewhere. Like there was something, it was just really weird energy for a while there, where I was feeling like I needed to leave this plane of existence and go out in the astral. And I was packing my bags, like wake up, packing bags and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so that's my Uluru story.
There's a very interesting phenomenon occurring as we record this. I have very, very good hearing, especially when it comes to audio, working in film all the years as I have. And not when I talk, but when you talk, there sounds like there's a male voice, distorted, speaking in exact synchronous with you. Now, I don't know if this is some kind of anomaly as a result of the distance you are from where I am at and where the server is for this channel, for the StreamYard. It may be, but it's very odd, and I've never heard it before.
Mm,
And I thought I'd make you aware of it
thank you.
because
I
it
do I
might.
do feel like there's someone with me. I can say
Okay.
that. I mean, I channel now.
And also, you
Yeah.
sent me very clearly the picture of that rock, and it's still in my mind. As you well know, everyone has a capability to utilize their telepathic ability, but
It's gonna free up.
they're
Yeah,
so locked into their brains, which is basically our central processing unit for these bodies, and it is limiting. And we
it is.
have to learn how to be more than just our physical selves and be more into our spirit and our consciousness, and then we can access that. But it was just something that I was seeing that rock so clearly because I get sent imagery all the time from my visitors.
Yeah. Well, they show me it goes down even further. It goes down, down, down. I think the Palladians are involved. There's something going on underneath that rock.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I have dealt with them very briefly, and also I had one experience with what I believed was a reptile type of being, um, which was quite striking. And I had to do a piece of artwork of it the next morning just to capture it because it was so clear in my mind,
yeah,
that encounter with him. So I know
yeah,
how that feels.
yeah. So, since we've got still a bit of time, I can tell you a little bit about the Anunnaki that came, which is pretty profound story in itself. So they were my third contact, and they ended up giving me messages of 444 everywhere. It would have been about 15 years prior. I woke up and saw my whole window implode inwards, and these four beings on spiritual white, wispy beings on white horses came into my room. And I sat up and I said, "They're coming soon, not just yet. I've been waiting for this one." My husband at the time had to tell me what I said. It was all very subliminally, like they were coming through me. And then forward now to, and I also had the song "A Band Full of Angels" is coming after me in my head. Forward it
Uh,
now. And I had this interaction with the Anunnaki. So I saw 444 for just so much on the trip that I was just taking my daughters to be with their dad. Like 5 times on billboards, and it was just crazy, so many times. And then I knew something was up because you don't get that many 444s everywhere. And I went to sleep and I woke up and I saw an orange UFO outside my bedroom window. It was in the shape of a UFO with a disc kind of around it, but it was light.
mhm.
It was a light orb, and it was shaped in a UFO sort of shape, hovering just outside my bedroom window in the tree outside. And I was thinking it's a vision because I see things that others don't see. The next morning, I woke up and I saw on my Facebook somebody else say in my hometown, Mulaney, "Did anyone else see the orange UFO last night?" So I knew it wasn't a vision then, it was an actual real UFO that had come in. The following night, was when it all happened. Like the following night, I woke up and I had four huge beings in my room. My house was over 100 years old, so it had very tall ceilings. These beings, I would say about 9 feet tall. They were huge, and they had capes over them, and they had curly black hair. I could only see the curly black hair. I couldn't see their facial features because of the cape coming down. But they literally tested me, like, the blanking of the mind again. I had a light next to me, and usually if something's overwhelming, I turn on the light to flip my alpha state or my theta state into an awareness of beta, so that, unless they were
Hmm.
really, really, really there. But I forgot about that because they blanked my mind, and the only other light was beyond them, on the wall behind them. So I sat up, and they're still there watching me, and I had to go through between two of them to get to the light switch. And I was saying, excuse me, as I was going through these beings to flip on the light switch. But they wanted to test me of my fear, because what they were going to do, what they did after that, was to take me onto their ships, and they were downloading information about their history and stuff like that, which was going to be channeled through later. This is why I channel now. And so they started to take me night after that. And when I would wake up, I would be frozen. And I asked them why. Why am I paralyzed? I don't like that feeling at all. And they
Hmm.
said, because if we come to you with the power of who we are, and we just say hello, it would be too much for you. Like, our energy is too much for your energy. And so they took me without, me really kind of knowing what's going on, but they wanted to give me these messages. And that's why they tested me at the beginning, to find out where the level of fear I was at, so that they could figure out how to, bring me to their ship and give me these messages and so forth. Um, so
Well, your
yeah,
fear shuts you down,
it does.
and your fear also turns on your fight or flight response,
Yes,
and with us, that can be dangerous for them too.
that's
So,
right.
you know,
Well, it
we
can
we're
make
re-
you,
we're
sorry.
we're really good at thinking that I can handle it. And I hear it all the time. And people say to me, "Oh, come on, man, I can handle it. Why don't they just come in my room and meet me? I can take it." You don't get it.
No, you don't,
No,
until you're
yeah,
actually facing off with them. I was very proud of
yeah.
myself that I actually got through them, so at least they could give me the messages and that sort of thing. But yeah, the fear also just, you'll end up responding, trying to destroy your reality, because your soul wants to leave. Like, you will attack everything. That's what that's all about. Um,
Yeah, we have to evolve out of that very, very
Yes,
quickly.
this is what we're evolving out of now. We're starting
It
to
is
open that
true.
the love frequency within us. We're starting to ground more of our soul. Well, those that are awakening are starting to realize the cells need to have more love in them for us to be able to heal ourselves, for us to be able to have these really incredible experiences as well, because we meet the etherical world and our physical world. We're grounding more of our etherical body or our soul into this physical world. That's what we're supposed to do. But
Yes.
we were also supposed to carve the path into the physical world. And then the ethereal world was kind of put as they covered it from us, because they didn't want us to muck that up. So we could kind of play in the playground of the physical world without mucking it up, because we were like babies with matches. We were experimenting in this physical world and carving a deeper path into it. But now is the time for us to bring back that feminine aspect, that imagination which holds all the codes of our past lives, where our soul has been. I just realized I've blocked out. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, it went black there for a bit. Um,
Yeah. Well, no. Actually the feed broke up, but everything you said is being recorded on your machine. So when I get the download, it'll all be there. It's
okay,
just the internet. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so we are at the moment we are learning to ground more soul into our reality, and more love into our reality, and that means we're piercing through the veils of the fear, which was only a code held over humanity's consciousness to keep us in a limited space, so we didn't muck up the ethereal worlds, which we will be in contact with way more as we go along. Like the whole objects in the sky and that we're going to realize that they are going to uncover themselves as the Anunnaki, as the Pleiades, as the Arcturians, as, the Andromedas. They're all going to be uncovering themselves eventually as we go along, because we are starting to release the fear of the unknown aspect of ourselves. And it's ourselves that we're needing to collaborate with. Like, it's really a mirror reflection of who we are, at the heart of who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And going back, thousands of years ago to indigenous people, these people you're speaking about, they were wide open with us,
they were.
and they were wide open with them, and they had interaction, and it was recorded, and all the petroglyphs and all the records
Yeah,
from that period from every indigenous tribe around the world. It was clear that they were in touch with what they called the star people, or the Wangina in the terms of the Australians. And it just goes on and on. It's all over Europe. It's all over Ireland and UK. It just,
yes.
but when
And
we went into this age we're in now, you know, we decided we wanted to grow up and stop being children full of wonder, and we just turned it all off. And that's when we started launching bombs, big
mm,
ones,
yeah,
nuclear bombs,
yeah.
and that sent off alarm bells. And so now
But
what you're saying is true. We are moving to that higher frequency
yes,
where we will no longer make war.
yeah. And there's a lot of forgiveness that has to happen with what has
Oh
happened as
yeah,
we were driving out, carving a new path into the more physical worlds or realms. We were literally carving humanity into a bigger playground. And look, funny that you bring up the ancestrals, because I just did a hidden codes for my new channel, YouTube channel, and it was exactly on that. It was on the fact that they didn't just use the stars to navigate in a physical way. They used them to navigate in a core essence of understanding the energy alignments that they were moving with as well. So there's a lot more there that we can uncover, and we're peeling away these layers of, onion layers of ourselves to realize it. But we can only peel that when we face the fear that's keeping us bound. And each and every one of us has our own specific way of doing this, and there's no right or wrong, and or judgment on how people move through. There's, someone says, I'm a spiritual person, and my team told me you should do this. No, 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 no. Everybody is doing this in their own right, in their own way of progressing. So we've got to just drop this whole has to be done a specific way. Yes, there are
yeah.
specific journeys and tales and things that you can help and guide people with when they are going through a specific position in their life, but if they decide to navigate it a different way, then so be it. This is source energy. We're all source energy going on a journey.
That's correct.
So we
It's
cannot
called the
be,
source.
yeah, reflective of another person and not see that within ourselves. So source energy doesn't judge source energy. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care. Um,
But the fear is a real huge problem, because the people that are running or in power of this country in America right now, when I see them, I see the most fear I've ever seen in a human being in my life.
mm.
They are scared to death.
They are
And
they are pushing them though. Like, everything
yeah,
outside of us that we're afraid of is because we haven't met that power as our power. And we can only nullify a power that's coming at us and seeing ourselves as a victim to that power when we meet it. It's just like when the draconian came up to me. I had to meet him at his power. And it doesn't matter if it's an ethereal being or a friggin', an actual person that's inflicting physical harm. If you have the will within
right.
yourself, you meet them at that power, you nullify it. And then that means you're seeing yourself as source energy, and you realize that they are too, and they were showing you where you were lacking. They are only showing you where you were lacking. We are all equal power when we come to source energy and seeing ourselves as that.
Sure.
It's the
We're all
divine
consciousness.
power. Yeah, all consciousness. So
As
we have to
as
meet
they're
that. Yeah.
as they're always saying to everyone who I've done a show on, and everyone I know has experiences, is the one constant is they say, I am you and you are me. We are
Hmm.
all the same. And when it comes to power, the people in charge of our governments, they think they're all powerful. They don't know what power is. They don't have any power. But when I sat across from that being, that reptile looking creature. And when it made eye contact with me and I made contact with it, I felt a real power,
Yeah,
not just that he had, but that I had within myself
that's
as
right.
well. And
Yeah.
he was trying to bring that out of me because I was afraid. Even talking about it, I just feel this little chill right now
Hmm.
because I'm very visual and I can still see his face. But even though I was a little unnerved, I was exhilarated by the moment.
Yeah,
The-
because it's
That over,
showing up how
yeah.
powerful you are. And that's all they are even doing. And we have the power when we connect to our soul and our will to shift the story. So no matter what laws or rules or anything that they pull over us, we have the power within ourselves to shift our story when we connect to our imagination and using it in a way that is aligned with our soul. That's going to shift everything. So humanity has this ability to expand their horizons out of, oh, a physical thing is going to stop me. No, no, you have it within you to just go, this is not going to happen. And I don't know how it's going to change, but it is not going to happen. And you will start to see a path in your imagination of where you want to go. That's where you're focusing. Where do we want to go? So align yourself with people that are in the same reality that you want to
Oh,
go
yeah,
to. Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh,
I think when the real change will come for us as a species, a race of beings, will be when people in general lose their fear of death, when they realize that when they end physically, they do not end, it does not end their consciousness, their soul, and their being.
yeah.
It will cause people to relax, to have calm, and
Yes.
feel the love of that
Yes. And that's why
awareness.
so many have actually had these near death experiences and bringing them
Oh,
up.
yeah,
That's why
my,
that's happening, to shift the
myself
reality,
included.
understanding
Yeah,
of that reality,
yeah.
because it is just you shifting avatars. That's how they call it, how my team calls it. Like we are moving from one avatar, one
Yeah,
body to
it's
another.
true. Yeah,
Yeah, it's exactly the same. We're just
that's true.
consciousness and we're building up experiences through the journey and the travels that we're going on. And even this one, when we meet it at love and we meet Earth at love, we will see all the secrets that are coming out of the woodwork. Like there's a lot of secrets that she's holding because we're not meeting her at love. It's going to make a big difference to the way that people see her and how we work with her. Um, the separation will close. Like I'm literally channeling, sorry. I just go into these zones.
I
But
think a lot of us do it without even realizing that's
you
what's going
do.
on because I
It's a
just
connection to your higher self.
when I'm
Yeah.
writing, when I'm writing or I'm making a film, um, and this has been going on for a long time with a lot of humans, they are, if you will, channeling things that they couldn't possibly know. But and we think of it, the materialists think of it as having a good imagination. Well, define what is having a good imagination. I
Yeah.
mean, how is it that Jules Verne wrote about three men leaving from Florida and going and landing on the moon back in the 1800s?
Yeah.
Just just to name one
One
example.
instant.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I've
So
had
we
too many
do,
premonition dreams to know.
but you're recognizing it. You're recognizing it is something that's not necessarily separate from who you are, but something you're already connected to,
Yeah.
and they are helping you get that connection so you can channel this information that we all share in
Mm.
universal consciousness.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we, like you said, out of our bodies, we're all the same
Yeah.
and we all have access to the same consciousness. So,
It's like
yes,
I had a team of Pleiadians that came to me. There was four beings that were very, very vivid blue, and they came to me, very tall beings, and they were what I call the Cyanians, Palladian beings that have evolved into such a high consciousness that they were able to see or observe many, many different realities at the same time. So very close to source energy. And when they came to me, they morphed into a rainbow sphere, and then they ended up like morphed into a humanoid lying down next to me because they didn't want to frighten me as well. And then they
mm-hmm.
started to tell me of dates. that the government was falling. I don't know if you could put that on YouTube, but anyway, that they were all going to fall. This is 10, 12 years, 10 years ago or something like that. And that a certain date that I was going to connect with them, which I did because I met myself as oneness on that specific night. And then from then on, they start to be able to channel through me. So I can channel these beings as well. So, but anything that you can channel is because your soul, like I'm connecting through myself to my soul, my higher self. And then my soul has all these friends, right? Of journeys that we've gone on that we can actually collaborate with as well.
Yeah, we
Um,
see them every night practically when we dream.
yeah.
The dream time is a very real thing.
Yes. Well, you can do so much more in your dreams when you become more aware of your different states of consciousness. So when you're an aware person of your alpha state, you can connect to Mother Earth and talk to her telepathically. When you're aware of your theta state, you can connect to these other beings and these souls that are, I mean, they can go into alpha as well, but they're just giving me different levels of awareness. And delta goes into literal the akashic records, the understanding of the wholeness of everything. But we have to be aware when we are in those states. We are not aware at the moment because of the fear that has driven us into just being in the physical world and only taking, the five senses into account. So all of
Correct.
that's a grayer. Yeah.
It drives us down into being frightened little animals in caves at night, burning fires, trying to keep the monsters away.
Yeah.
Instead of instead
Survival
of re,
mode.
instead of spreading our wings and reaching out into the stars and absorbing in love all the knowledge and all the amazing, wonderful things that are out there and in here and everywhere else beyond that.
Yes.
As there's multi universes, there's multi dimensions. It goes on forever and
Well,
ever.
they they show me everything that's on Earth. If you think of it, every bug, every animal, every well, that is in reflection of how many things are out there in dimensions and dimensional spaces, because each bug has its own dimensional frequency of what it's living through, and so forth and so forth. Everything does have a different perspective of a frequency, and so there's that many frequencies out there. Humanity likes to break it down to 9 or 12 or whatever, but they showed me no, it just goes way, way, way beyond that. And even with the beings and stuff and so forth, they are like hidden parts of ourselves that we will come into alignment with
Yes,
as we start to remember our past lives and
I
understanding that it is part of who we are as well, and why we are who we are, how we react to this world and so forth. We bring it into alignment through love, then we can connect back to those beings again and understand and remember those past lives, because the logical mind only holds this past life. That's what it's supposed to do, to have a separated world so that we can live in a space of from birth to death. It's meant to hold it there. But when somebody passes over when they die, they will actually have a life review, because it's flipping
yes, oh
into
yeah,
the soul
sure,
consciousness. So that life
yes.
review gets sucked into the soul's consciousness and holds there. And then it carries on to the next life and the next life, but only if you're aware in that next life.
As I get older, when I was a kid, I was aware of a past life I had during World War II. But as I get older, um, uh, I'm starting to remember more about it. Like it's okay for you to have memories of your past lives now.
Right.
Now, it
Yes.
wasn't before, but it
Yes.
is now, and I
Well,
find that really interesting. Um,
they split it
and
up for
that's
me.
a fantastic experience.
Sorry for interrupting.
No,
Um,
it's okay.
but they split it up for me. I get channel messages and I want to spit them out. They split it up for me. They were saying we have our DNA past life, our body, our ancestors, the people that you can tune into. So
That's
you've
true.
got that one past life that's happening,
Very
but then
important.
there's a soul past life. Now, if your DNA matched your past lives of your soul, in other words, you're a human over and over and over and over again, caught in the matrix, then you have a similar to what your
Too many
soul
times.
understands. But if you are from another, you're a star being from Pleiades or whatever, then you also have a totally different reality of past lives that is held in the imagination for your soul to connect with is what you're, if I connect with my body and my ancestors, what my predecessors, my grandmother and their parents, I can connect to that as well. So I'm now worked out which ones are which, and but I'm from the stars, straight from the stars anyway. So it's easier for me to understand the soul path next to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the worlds. I remember very advanced spacecraft like Star Trek and being in them and having that life, and I miss it.
Yeah.
But I know it's always there, and I know I can always go back to it.
Well, we're here to ground that energy. Mother Earth or Gaia would not have allowed you to be born unless she wanted you in this moment to ground the energy that comes from those spaces. And that's through remembering again, remembering that she wants us,
Yeah.
humanity, to expand. So if you expand, it's like the 100 Monkey Syndrome, they expand as well. You're holding a vibration, you're a portal to that vibration because you come from that life. And now you're here to ground it. So that's just through you remembering it.
Right.
Yeah, good
Before
job.
we close,
Yes.
Bobbie, is there anything you'd like to share uh, with our audience?
Well, at the moment, we're going through, they show me Taurus energy. So the Taurus energy is like us going on a journey through our feminine, intuitive mind. And then we close that chapter off, which is we're persecuted and all of that. And the masculine mind was all about that. Well, we're coming into the central, they show me the central point. This is a quickening, and it is literally squeezing us past all of our fears as we enter that vortex, which is source energy within us or out of us, whatever. It's the same thing. We end up having to shed a lot of these fears, like you were bringing up before. And so you'll be faced off with your fears in front of you over and over until you realize you have the power within you to either shift the story or to nullify it and realize you are not a victim to it anymore. So it'll keep happening to humanity as they're waking up, and there's going to be different levels of waves of everybody waking up in different times. We're not all waking up together. Yeah, there's the ones from the stars, the witches and that were persecuted, that were holding codes. Like
Oh,
they
yes.
literally gave birth to ones from the stars. They were that brave that they went through all that persecution with the feminine codes, that they're giving birth to the star children now, and have been for a while. So they will awaken because they gave birth to the star children. So the star children will awaken them, and then we go into the actual mainstream and all of that. So there's these waves of people coming up after us. It is an absolute, that they tell me it's an absolute. It's already done. It's already does it. Already done. Don't worry about things so much. Live your life as more of a fun game rather than get serious about all of that that's happening on the news and what they're doing. Everything that they do now with the fear games is going to go straight back at them because we're entering source, we're entering into the love of self too much now. So if they try to push something on somebody, it's just going to smack right back at them anyway, or they're going to awaken many people through that pushing of the envelope. So you just need to enjoy your life now. Just relax and have more fun.
That's true. But at the same time, we're both trying to bring a consciousness to the people around us, and that's part of the fun.
It is
It
part of the
is.
fun. I find it part of
Because
the fun. Yeah.
be well, because I find that so many people are helped, who are on the fence about their experiences that are happening to them, and
Mm,
if they come into a realm of feeling calmer and more relaxed with what's happening to them, then we've done our job.
exactly.
Because then the fear is gone, and they can really process it and engage it on a level,
Yeah.
The funny thing about fear was when as I was a little boy, uh, I would never be afraid to walk into darkness because I wanted to go in and see what was in there. I could feel the fear, but something always pressed me past it. I was always the one to go into the dark room when other kids were afraid to go in there because I knew there was nothing in there to harm me. But in their minds, there was, and it might have harmed them. So it's been a really interesting life.
Mm.
Bobbie, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being on our show. I know you didn't have much time to talk. Our shows are generally kept to an hour
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
And we can
Can I
always have
just
you
say
back to talk more.
my website and
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna you're gonna send me that information in an email, and as we're
okay.
speaking, I'm gonna put up the website. But yes, do talk about your website in closing, and just let people know the work you're
Okay.
doing.
Okay, so my website is codestoanew reality.com. And yeah, there's a lot of information on there, a lot of channel messages and so forth if you join. I also have a Patreon school that's bringing in telepathic games and fun and some lessons. So that's
Oh
two
wow.
tiers. So the first one is a ruby tier, just the telepathic games. Then they take you into, off this planet or into the elemental worlds or whatever, but they actually, you have to guess what I'm guessing, kind of thing, as you go through, kind of meditative things as well. And then lessons as well, so silver tier. If you want to join, it's just like a few dollars a month if you wanted to, like $5 a month. And then I also have another channel called Bobbie the Messenger, where I go live twice a week and channel messages through. So I give free readings too on Thursday for fun, for those that bring out the tarot a bit at the end there, for anyone in the chat bar if they want to come on board and get a free reading. But I'm also an intuitive counselor. So if you book me one on one, then obviously you get a full on reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And keep in mind, everyone, I saw the red rock, and it just when she was talking about it, it just developed in my mind, and it was really, really cool. I enjoyed that.
Love that.
Bobbie, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Steve.